got right down to the bedrock, and then they started building up their walls. The exterior wall, you can see the concrete. This is the slide that Chris showed from the outside, rebuilding the wall. This is the concrete wall on the inside where the stone wall is now the veneer. So you no longer have the same challenges with the frost-thaw cycle. When the fort was originally constructed, there's a wall right here, and then it goes right through. It's underneath this fabric here. This wall and the outer wall is filled with earth. The cannon are up above, so this is the support wall that's holding the cannon and holding up the fort. From this wall to the wall behind you was an open space. It was available for storage. So what is this wall? Well, if you all look behind you and down against the wall, you'll see a little ridge for the floor planking for this space. The floor planking rested on this wall as well. So there was floor planking all the way over to here. So this is a usable space as opposed to just filling it completely with earth fill. When the restoration begins, you saw the great picture of it all cleared out, like in 1909, getting ready to build. The Soldiers' Bear construction doesn't happen until like 1929. Stephen Pell's timing was excellent on this building, because he first started to restore it in 1915, and actually 1914, and World War I. What are uniforms made out of during World War I? Wool. Stephen Pell is heavily invested in cotton. Cotton market plummets. He's not here. He's in New York City. He sends a telegraph. Stop all work on the fort. His money is now gone. It was going to go into the reconstruction of this building. So finally things rebound. 1929, he starts construction again on this building. What happens? The stock market crash. He manages to get through that. And this building is completed in 1930. From your about ankle level down on that wall behind you is original French construction. And as you work your way up, there's a line that's that 1910 to 1915 line, and then 1915 to the present. If you look at the very top, it's not stone, it's like a terracotta block. Think cinder block type. The entire building on the inside is built with terracotta block, and then the stone is the facade on the outside. So it's not a stone wall construction, it's a stone wall veneer. So you can see, this is the only place you can see the terracotta block. Much like, I can tell you all, the Mars Education Center building, it looks like a stone building. We have steel and everything in there now because it was a modern building. Then, when this wall was put in, this was done in 2003, 2004, and look above us, concrete planks to hold all the way, and a steel which would not have been there before. One of the challenges with the restoration in 1909, this was restored the same way it would have originally been built, these walls with earth. And occasionally, the cannon would start to sink in, because as water goes in and filters down, instead of there being earth right up to the top, there suddenly is a gap. And those cannon weigh a couple tons each. So it's a lot of weight, and then eventually it starts to create real problems this way. And as that earth gets wet, freezes, thaw, some outward motion, which we still have those issues. Not all the walls have been addressed this way. So I'd say about more than a third and less than a half of the walls have been addressed. It's not cheap. This project here was about $1.5 million. And when it's done, it looks exactly like it did before. Outside. It's kind of hard to get donors excited about something that it looks like it did when I was here the last time. So there's those ongoing preservation challenges that we keep learning about. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Sorry if this is a weird question, but I feel like it's supposed to be like a history thing. Like, wouldn't that be the whole point for it to look the same? Like, wouldn't they be mad if they came back and it didn't look the same?
But a donor likes to see a new building or a new it's finding the right donor who gets it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's not that they didn't want it to look the same. It's just I just spent all that money and I can't see any
They
results.
want to put their name on it.
That's right, yeah. Okay, so this was a total inspiration while I was sitting there watching Chris's talk this morning. So we'll try to squeeze it in the next NEH group too. It's nice that we're right next door to the meeting room.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's really cool, and one of the ongoing challenges is weather, especially North Country weather. You can see all the drain pipes trying to get the water out of here. If you've been wandering around outside during breaks, you see the masons working on the water is still a problem, even though that wall was finished in 2005. There's already water seeping, like here, into different areas that it shouldn't be. And it's because water seals aren't permanent.
What about that French drainage system that Chris talked about?
Yeah, it's like a foot square with like flat rocks on the bottom, flat rocks on the side, flat, and they created a tunnel basically, and then there's little smaller ones running into it, you know, like French drains.
Is it all along the periphery of the parade
No,
ground?
it kind of runs. The one that we found runs about 20 feet north of the front of this building. So, and it's kind of a straight shot. Everything goes downhill towards the east, much like you can sense here. The bedrock kind of goes
So the
down.
parade ground is actually sloped.
There
a
is this
bit?
little slight
Oh,
slope to it.
Cool.
It's not enough that you notice.
Yeah,
When we
yeah.
get a real hard downpour, the rain all pools on that corner. Did that when you were here too, right, Tom? Over in that corner over there.
Yeah, makes sense.
Speaking of water, there is not a well.
The well is down over the hill. There's no way to dig a well in the fort because it's solid bedrock. They did create a cistern to capture rainwater, but it was kind of a last resort source of water because there's all sorts of things growing in there today. I can just imagine it wasn't any better in the 18th century. You know, there's frogs and, you know, but it does. They did have a way to capture rain. Their primary source of water was the lake, and then the well is available as well, but the cistern's really if you're under siege and can't get access to water. And water's important. We talked about that on Mount Defiance at the beginning of the week. Why didn't the Americans defend Mount Defiance? There's no source of water up there. You could be there for a couple days, but you wouldn't be able to sustain a long siege. All right. Grab your lunch on the way back.